You're so interesting to watch. When we talk to you and Jerry, your husband,
That's Stiller, S-T-I-L-L-E-R, Jerry Stiller.
Right, in a subsequent program, you have established your reputations early on as funny people, but even before that, you were real straight actors, weren't you, and serious about it? I mean, you were doing Shakespeare in the Park and things like that.
We did Shakespeare for Joe Papp, and Jerry had also done Shakespeare at Stratford, Connecticut. He played the first season in Stratford, Connecticut. He was in The Tempest with Roddy McDowall and Jack Palance, or Palance, I don't know. And
did he like you right away?
Jerry?
Yes, Jerry Stiller, your husband.
Yes, he liked me.
Why?
Because I showed him a good time, Milton. What do you mean?
Yeah, right to the basics.
You bet.
He'd been but I think he's a very lucky man myself.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm lucky because he started us doing a comedy act. You see, I studied seriously in acting classes. I used to mumble, believe it or not. With my mouth, it's hard to believe. And Jerry had gone to Syracuse University. I unfortunately didn't go to college. I started making rounds, looking for jobs. That was my college. But when we brought Amy home from the hospital, meaning she was born there, I mean,
right.
We realized we had to get known. Because to do that, in other words, we started to work on our own material. Jerry always thought I was funny. He did laugh at me at the wrong moment, so gotta tell you.
Care to mention when?
No, I think you can imagine.
All right.
But he started us doing a comedy act. So in other words, we wouldn't be just dependent on the telephone ringing and them calling you.
Did you feel, when you put your act together at the beginning, that you were good right then? Did it click?
Well, our friends laughed at us in the living room, you know, when we did all this stuff.
But much of your humor came, it seemed to me, from the frictions and the interplay of your own lifestyles, yours and Jerry's.
Yes. When we first started, we worked in a place in Greenwich Village called the Village Gate. And Art DeLugoff, who is a friend of ours now, hired us. He kept us for 2 weeks. I don't know why he did, because we really didn't have an act. We had sort of an anti-war sketch. I can't even tell you this. It was so dumb. Jerry will probably hate me for saying this. Where I played Peaches, sort of a chorus girl, you know, and he played a professor. And we had this routine where we were going to bump for peace. Yeah, bump the bomb. Needless to say, we bombed. And that sketch has never been heard of again. And we eventually got on.
But a lot of good people played the Village Gate, I believe.
Oh, sure, but they had an act. We didn't. We didn't know what we were doing, but Herbie Mann liked us. He was playing there at the time. And eventually we got sketches together, and we started to use our own lives, our own backgrounds, Jewish and Irish and stuff like that.
In your early successes on television, which I remember very clearly, it seemed to me that this was not made-up comedy, that with Jerry's Jewish background and your Irish Catholic background, there was much inherent laughter in it. And much, but must have been much in your lives.
We just used, in begin with, you know, we didn't start doing the Jewish-Irish. So we just boy-girl stuff, Good Night at the Door, sketches, takeoffs on commercials. And we were playing in Florida, in Jacksonville, Florida, at a place called Tony's Fish Market.
Can we pause there a little bit?
And we had a Sullivan date hanging over our head. We were very grateful to have the date, but it also was an obligation to fulfill, to come up with 6 funny minutes.
Right.
And we just started talking one night as the busboys went by in the kitchen, and we started somehow to deal with our own backgrounds. And that was like the first Hershey Horowitz and Mary Elizabeth Doyle. They meet through a computer. With
the humor, there was also a great deal of poignancy, it seemed to me, in your sketches.
Well, I'm glad.
You do, if I must say, and that you look as though you're very pleasant to be around. I would think that your children are happy children. Have I said something wrong?
I never hit a child in cold blood. Always in the heat of anger. No, my kids are great.